All right. Good morning, everybody. We're so excited to have you on the wake-up call this morning. We have been going through the book, Little Things Matter. It's 100 Ways to Improve Your Life Today. My name's Jennifer. I'm coming to you from Oklahoma today, and I'm excited to have my dear friend and my business partner. Gosh, we've been knowing each other over 12 years now, a long time. In business, 12 years, and friends much longer than that. But Andi is coming to us all the way from Lake Toxaway. Hopefully I pronounced it right, North Carolina. And I'm excited to have him on this morning and learn some new things today.
All right, Jennifer, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Great to be on the call this morning. We're going over the book, Little Things Matter. I'm going to read you a couple of paragraphs from a chapter, and I love this chapter. It's called Enjoy Life's Journey, and I feel like I'm somewhat qualified to talk about that because I made a commitment many years ago, even when I was broke, that I was going to be grateful and enjoy all the blessings God has given me, and I was not going to wait until all my dreams became a reality. So, I believe a lot of people figure out, or some people figure out how to achieve, which is, I think it boils down to applying 3-4 behaviors consistently. It depends on improving, which it's all about modeling the people that have what we want, figure out their mindset, psychology. It's staying optimistic during the tours and then do it until mindset. So some figure that out, some push themselves to do those, apply those basics or those fundamentals, but most people don't figure out the art of the enjoyment and really just enjoying what God has given them. So here's the chapter. The author starts by saying life is a journey, not a destination. He said that this particular phrase from Emerson has been given a lot of people hope and helps you understand the importance of enjoying the journey. And he said, as is the case with any overused expression or phrase, we tend to overlook its significance and really miss the message entirely. Nevertheless, he says, I believe this subject bears some very serious consideration. So far too often, the author says, we spend time in hot pursuit of our goals and don't take the time to enjoy the people or the experiences along the way. Everybody seems to be in a hurry to get something, get somewhere, always focusing on what they want rather than pausing for a moment and really appreciating all that they have. And he says, as I pondered my own success-driven life, I've often felt like I was running a race rather than enjoying the ride. That's good, man. I suspect all high achievers have somewhat a similar perspective. And here's my advice, he says. Don't wait for the funeral of a loved one to recognize how fleeting and how short life can be. By the way, often one of my prayers is, Lord, help me understand the brevity of life. And when you put things in perspective, it just kind of brings you more present. And he says, don't wish you had more time to spend with your spouse or children or friends. Don't miss out on all that life has to offer in your pursuit to be successful. If you want to enjoy life, he says, take time out. Notice the deep purple of the violets and the orange-pink sky on the sunset. And I think a good question is, how many sunsets have you enjoyed the past year? I often, by the way, ask myself that question, and it's a good indicator where if I'm present, if it's a priority of mine to enjoy what God has blessed me with. He says, listen to the morning symphony of the birds, laugh at a child's, jokes or antics, relish a hot dog at a ball game, let your body and your mind relax, and spend time with friends and family. Often when I go to the beach, you guys, sometimes I try to involve all my senses. Sometimes I close my eyes and I just feel the breeze. Sometimes I will keep my eyes closed and I'll just listen to, the sounds of birds and nature and the waves and kids playing. And sometimes I'll just focus on, feeling the sun on my skin and my toes in the sand. So I think it's really good advice. And he's got about half a dozen points here that he's, or maybe a few things that he made a list of that help the author find pleasure in the balance of his journey. And here's number one. He says, I am going to concentrate on having more fun. By the way, I love that. When people say, I will do this versus I want to do this, you almost can tell their result, right? He says, I will smile and laugh more. I will tell more jokes. I will go fishing frequently and I will play golf more often. I will continue to place a priority on spending time with family and friends, enjoying the activities that we can do together. Now, here's the third one. I want to enjoy nature, right? I can see how much of a priority that is for him, but he says, I want to enjoy a walk in the park or on the beach, the birds chirping, the flowers blooming, the waves rolling, and so forth. I will control my reactions, he says. I will appreciate other people's differences. That's a big one in relationships. I do not have to win all the battles. I'm going to allow myself I am not going to allow myself to get worked up over silly things, over things that don't really matter in the big scope of life. I will block out time to recharge my batteries. I think this is so huge. Every time I took time off, and in the past it would be like every weekend, a weekend every month, 2-3 days to unplug. I came back with so much more, renewed energy and just ready to tackle the day and even build bigger. So I think it's a great advice. As an entrepreneur, it's easy to not watch the time. And I remember one time, years ago, my wife told me, "Hon, okay, thank you for all you've done and thank you for all you've achieved, but I miss my husband. I wish you would be a pizza delivery driver. And because at least I had you home at a certain time and nothing else." So that was a huge wake-up, a moment for me. He says, I'll be happy where I'm at any given time and give my full attention to the people I'm with at the time. Basically, I'll be wherever I am, right? I will eagerly and optimistically anticipate the thrill of the next great challenge or adventure. So here's his last challenge for the readers. He says, I hope my personal introspection gives you some ideas. What will you do differently, he's asking. What will you do differently to find more pleasure, more contentment along your journey? Don't get to the end of your life and wish you had made other choices that could have brought you more joy. His advice is start today to seek a better way. Embrace life as a wonderful adventure, because it truly is, and enjoy every moment to the fullest. And before I pass on to Jennifer for some thoughts, many years ago when I was trying to make it in business, so my whole family is in another country, in Albania. I had not seen my parents, my sisters. I'm here, in the States basically by myself. My whole family's back home. And it had been over 5 years I had not been back home. And back then, I worked with people that working and business seemed to be their highest value. The work seemed to be their highest value. And when we put people on a pedestal, we somehow tend to allow their highest value to become our highest value. So I went back home after 5 years, you guys, and I saw my parents with more gray hair and older, and my sister, I'd left her as tall as, she was like, her head was by my shoulder, and now she's taller than me. And it was a very emotional trip. And I remember at that time I said, never again. I will never tell myself or lie to myself that when I achieve this, when I have this, when I have that, then I'm going to enjoy this and that. I made a commitment then that I was going to enjoy the journey and pause. And some people never get it. Some people complain. But I took time off every summer, a month, and I just did life based on what's important to me, my family, my highest values. And if you live life on what's important to you and your highest values, you may rock the boat with some people, but never mind them. I think you really master life when your voice, the voice inside of you, what you truly want, your calling and your heart's voice is stronger than the voices around you. I think that's really a good sign of maturity. And also, I've believed for a long time that the essence of life is really lifestyle. It's living well, and if you live well, you will do better. You'll attract better quality people, and I think that a big chunk of it depends on what you focus on at any time. Like right now, this morning, today, if I were to ask you what's beautiful, what's abundant in your life, and if you're to take a deep breath and pause, you can find a bunch. And if you can find a bunch, and if you approach it with a grateful heart, it will affect your attitude, your outlook in life, and you'll feel better. And but if I were to say, hey, what's wrong, right? And I promise you can find what's wrong. And our focus really determines how we feel, and how we feel, I think, determines the quality of our life. If you have a billionaire friend, and if that person is always stressed and overwhelmed and anxious and always worrying about stuff and money, what's the quality of their life? But if you have another friend that maybe they have found this thing called absolute faith, and maybe they've experienced the peace that surpasses all understanding. Maybe they have a strong walk with the Lord, and maybe they're grounded and they understand how short life is, and they live they're grateful. They may have way less, but their heart is full of gratitude for the things that truly matter in life, your health and your family and your relationships, and they have things in perspective, and who lives a richer life. And gosh, I can talk about this subject for a long time. But Jennifer, I'd love to pass it to you for any closing thoughts.
Oh, man, I could really just say ditto to this. And it lets me see, when I look at things that to enjoy in life's journey, is friendships, because they say who you surround yourself with can impact your life, and you are one of those people. And I say ditto because all the things you talked about is exactly what I have learned in this and the journey, and especially about being grateful in the tough times. So many times it's easy when our life's journey is going well that we praise and we're grateful, but in the tough times we forget that sometimes. And when I looked at things for me I made a list of the things that matter and going through, and I was like, man, he starts them right. He starts with I am, I will, I want. It's about the things of who we want to become and what I will do and what I want to do versus the things you don't want in life. And so it's a good thing to think about the shift in your mind of what you are telling yourself. And my list, prayer and worship, is one of those. My fur babies, those that know me know I love my fur babies. They bring me joy. They bring me happiness and lots of joy on my journey. Family, friends, nature, and the slowing down thing, you talked about that. We never know how many sunrises or sunsets we have left in our life. And if those things are things that truly bring you joy, don't let the focus of chasing the things, and don't get lost in the chase of things, losing sight of those things you do enjoy. Definitely take that time with your family and your friends if that's what's important to you. My peace for me is something definitely through some tough times over the years. I realize how important that is to me, and he notates it in there as well for him. But my peace, I value that. I value who I'm letting into my life, who I maybe had to exit my life in that too, on that joy and that journey, and what's important. And the gratitude piece of always, in that good and bad, focus on what you're grateful for. The good things, the friendships, the air we breathe. The other day you talked about the senses and closing your eyes. I set out the eclipse. Most of us probably caught a little bit of that. I sat outside and I just closed my eyes when it was happening, and it was like to feel the grass going from the warmth to the cool, and the birds from chirping loudly to barely chirping to temperature drop, like all those things feeling them was pretty cool. But to just take that time to experience something new can bring a lot of things into your life too. So that's all I'm going to add for now. We're at 8:30, but is there anything else you want to talk on, Andi?
Jennifer, great thoughts, and I love what you said. You never know how many sunsets you have, and just enjoy the current one, because one of these days you'll wake up and you'll have too many wrinkles and not enough days left. And don't get lost in just the pursuit. Enjoy the journey. The journey is where it is. With that said, appreciate your beautiful thoughts. Appreciate you guys being here this morning. And as Jennifer opens up the lines, let's say good morning and goodbye. And I look forward to seeing you on the next. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you guys.